Hey, you awesome folks! Thanks for taking this journey of discovery with your guide, Keith Haney. You're listening to the Becoming Bridge Builders podcast, your favorite podcast for everything from racial reconciliation to education innovation, justice reform, and leading change in the 21st century. This podcast is for people who love to be challenged with difficult topics, but want practical solutions to solve these challenging issues. Becoming Bridge Builders makes change possible. Each week on the podcast, Keith invites innovative thought leaders to share how they are building bridges in their area of expertise. You will hear breakthrough ideas and concepts that are changing the world. He's featuring guests who are best-selling authors, leaders at Microsoft, entrepreneurs, leading educators, professors, lawyers, and so many more. Listen in to learn how you can be the bridge to the change you are seeking.
Yesterday is Ace Karimi. Ace came to this country as a refugee with his family at the age of 5. His parents worked long 12 to 14-hour days to support his siblings and him. Growing up, Ace was a problem child in school. He never really knew why. Then later when he graduated from college, he started his business. It all showed up in his face. Ace had a lot of self-worth issues from environment around him. Slowly he worked through every issue. It was painful but worth every second. Now, Ace owns a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio, and he wants to show people how they can overcome their internal struggles to create their best life. We welcome Ace to the podcast. Well, so good to have Ace on the show. How you doing today?
Fantastic. How we doing, Keith?
I'm good. I love that. Ace, that's cool. I love playing spades. So Ace of Spades was always kind of my favorite card. So it's good to have you on. So I'm going to give you an easy question to kind of warm us up a little bit. So give me the best piece of advice you've ever received.
Oh, the best piece of advice. That's a good one. The more you work on yourself, the easier it will be to get everything you want in life, right? Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. That's one of the things the great Jim Rohn said, and it changed my life. Personal development is really the answer to everything. Whether you're trying to make more money, have better relationships, more life, more freedom, it all starts by improving yourself day in and day out.
But it's so much fun to accuse other people, right? It's his fault that I'm not successful, or it's his fault that my relationship isn't working out just right?
Hey, we are all self-made. Only the successful ones take credit for it.
There you go. So I'm always curious in people's journey, who are some people in your life who serve to inspire you?
You know, my inspiration actually comes from my parents. You know, I came to this country as a refugee when I was young. We fled from war in Afghanistan. I have very faint memories from my youth, but coming here, my dad drove a cab. My mom worked at a deli. They're both working 12 to 14 hours. And growing up, they're doing the best they can to not only put food on the plate, but give us a really good childhood. My mom would come home from work standing at the deli every day for 8 hours and then come home and cook and make sure, she gave us time and attention. My dad virtually had no time and attention to give us because he was just so focused on, make sure the bills were paid. And he'd come home late nights, I'd see him, and then he'd leave early mornings. And growing up, I used to see this every day. And the more you grow up as a young boy in this household, you see how hard your parents are working and all you want to do is give back to them. So that's my source of inspiration, Keith, is my parents, my family. I have an extended family here that goes beyond just them two. I have cousins, aunts, nieces, nephews. And my source of inspiration comes from being the leader that my family deserves, being the person that, hey, they came and fled to this country for a reason. I need to make something out of this opportunity, so I don't want to let them down.
Yeah, I just saw Afghanistan was in the news. We were looking at what happened 2 years ago with the mess there. So it's kind of interesting that you mentioned fleeing some of the things that are probably still going on in Afghanistan.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. I was one of the lucky ones, man. Yeah. For sure.
So I read part of your story, and as I kind of did some research on you, kind of share with the audience kind of your journey. I'm just because when you talked about starting from there to where you are now, kind of walk us through how that worked out for you.
What? So from coming from Afghanistan to where I am now?
Yeah, to where you are now. Yeah.
How much time do you have? I mean, Keith, it's a long, windy one, man. My story, it's like sometimes I wonder, why I've been blessed so much because that's really what it comes down to. It's like I've definitely been fortunate, and I've definitely had some form of chance go my way. But I've worked really hard too. I always like to tell people like, I believe in God, right? I'm like, God shines the path, and all we need to do is follow it, trust ourselves, can keep working on ourselves, and then put the work in, right? Because that's really the difference between people who get everything they want and they don't. Is if you do have the opportunity, which almost everybody in America does have, right? You can't say that if you're somewhere in like Colombia, you don't have that chance as you do in America. It's just it is what it is. The deck is stacked in our favor here. So me knowing that early on, I was obsessed with successful people. I'm like, what are these guys doing? How did they become successful? I'm reading story after story of self-made. They did not get this wealth. They did not get this success passed along to them. So what did they do? And I just keep looking, I looked at Warren Buffett's story, Steve Jobs' story. Some of the greatest innovators of our time were all broke when they were young. They didn't come from a family of fortune. And as I kept reading more into their stories, I'm like, wow, like this is actually possible. Like I can actually go and become something if I focus on some of these things that they did as well. And growing up, I had a strong sense that I would not have a job. I just knew I'm like, I don't think it's for me. I'm trying to create something different. I want to take care of my family for generations to come. And that's going to have to be either through some sort of business or some sort of investing. That's the way to do it. So growing up, man, I was a problem child. I used to get in trouble all the time. I don't know what it was, man. Maybe it was like the fact that I was just raised in a whole different environment than my family ever has been. I used to get in trouble, bro. Go to the principal's office. My dad would come. He'd be disappointed. Then I'd go home and he'd beat me, bro. He'd make sure I got my punishment. Like that's the foreign mentality, dude. They taught you a lesson. Like, dude, don't ever embarrass us, out there. And that's the stuff that I went through. Like, it was a lot of correctional behavior that I don't even know where it stemmed from. And then as I grew up and I got into my college years and I graduated college, I started seeing, I'm like, there's a lot of inherent things that was kind of placed into me that I needed to remove. And this is the same for everybody. I noticed that I had limitations. I had certain fears. I had certain beliefs that were not serving me, as many of us do. We don't even know where some of our beliefs came from. Where did some of these thought processes come from? And then you have to kind of like examine them and go deeper into the layers to try to figure out where the root of it is. And I went through hell, bro, my first few years in business. It was terrible, bro. Like it was tough because I'm broke, right? I'm going more into debt. I'm stacking up credit cards. I'm paying for all these different things, and I'm trying to maintain my survival essentially. And it's just getting harder and harder. My mindset is beating me up. I have bad habits. Okay, I'm drinking every day, right? I was also smoking weed like on a regular. I'm over there like just doing anything I can to like try to numb myself at night so that when I wake up in the morning, I can just get right back to work. And it was a vicious cycle. Like I'm over there like in the darkest moments, like drinking a Four Loko, bro, and just thinking, how the hell am I going to figure this out? Am I way in over my head? Like, what was I thinking to think that I could do this? Like, that's the side that nobody shows you. It's like, why the hell did I think I could do this? I'm not any of those guys. All the self-talk starts going through your head, and it's like you're just beating yourself up, man, and then all these limitations and all this trauma from everything your father and your family said, like, yeah, you should have listened to them. You should have just gone get a regular job, gone and been a doctor, lawyer, an engineer. You could have done all these things, but you didn't. You try to be the hard ass. It's very painful because then you're fighting your own thoughts, and now you're feeling all this weight above you. And then you still have to go over there, and you've already committed down this path, so you can't just go and turn back now. You have to keep walking down the path. And it was very tough, bro, like for those few years, because I'm like, I had to really learn what I was about. I had my back against the wall finally at a certain point where I'm like, I actually don't have any more room. I don't have any more cushion. I actually can't make my credit card payment. I don't have any money coming in. I'm losing this client that I had, and I'm like, this is terrible. And I had a marketing business at the time, and I'm like, what do I do? And then I just got right back to it, bro. It's like when a man has his back against the wall and he's going through all this adversity and he's just pushing, like you can really see, adversity shows a person to who they really are. And that's what I saw. I saw what I was really made of. And I just kept pushing back. And, fast forward, I got into real estate, man. Things just started changing around. I did my first deal, did my second, did my third. That literally gave me all the room I needed to breathe again, pay off all my debts. Things are going well now, right? One real estate deal changed my life, to be honest. That's what it was, right? It showed me what was possible. I just kept going harder and harder and harder. And then I moved into multifamily, and now I own a multi-million-dollar investment portfolio, bro. So it's kind of crazy how that works.
That's an interesting story, but something in your character had to change for even when the success came for you not to blow that. So what character trait did you learn through those difficult moments so that when success did come, you wouldn't just throw it away?
Yeah, it's just any sort of, it was discipline. I had to discipline myself. That's really the big key because the drinking and the smoking and these bad habits are not going to serve you. Like those are the first things that I had to remove. So I had to rewire myself and my habits and my beliefs in a way that, hey, I already have what I want. I already have what it is that I'm moving towards. And by doing that and by following the habits and routines of successful people and letting go of these bad habits, which are, really hard, by the way, I started hitting the gym early. I started waking up early, reading every day. I even hired a mentor, right? And just try to get all this information from them and apply it. So for me, it was like disciplining my mind. My mind was undisciplined, and that's what I needed to learn how to discipline it.
So what I hear you saying is you had to make a decision to change behavior, but you didn't do that by yourself. You found a support system. You found the different structure. You had to take the energy that you were spending on bad things and put them toward things that were good for you and find someone to come alongside you and support you along the way.
Exactly, bro. That's what it is.
Yeah. I want to focus on the real estate part because I'm hearing that in this economy, real estate is one of those things that, and somebody said to me, I had a guest on just recently talking about the recession. The recession is an opportunity for people oftentimes if you know where to look. Where some people are holding on to money. Recession sometimes brings up businesses and opportunities that aren't there in good markets. So I know real estate is kind of fluctuating right now, but people say that if you can get into it in these down seasons when the housing market may be not as good as it could be, you could really do well. So walk us through what we should know if we want to get into the real estate market right now.
Yeah, it's a great question. So what I would tell people is prepare yourself. I think one of the greatest buying opportunities in history is coming right around the corner. And right now is not when you want to be buying. Right now is when you want to be preparing to buy. So it's a bit different, right? You want to do this by one, getting your education right. You got to start tapping into relationships in your local market. And then most importantly, getting a mentor, right? Everything starts with mentorship in real estate. I would never advise somebody to just get into real estate without following somebody who already has a blueprint of success, who's already been doing it for a long time. It's not the things that right, that are going to help you. It's not about those things. What a mentorship does is it shows you the million little things to avoid that could really wipe you out of the game. In real estate, you're talking about big deals. Your average house is even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Most properties that I'm looking at are between $5 to $20 million. So if you're starting to look at these types of properties and you miss like a single detail, the whole deal will go south. And that's one of the reasons why it's so imperative to get the education down first, right? Education is the most important thing in any endeavor that you're doing. But in real estate, the cool thing is you're not doing anything new. Like we're not going out and creating a new grand tech product. All we're doing is like applying a formula that's been proven for decades. And then we're applying it to our knowledge base and then going out and implementing it and executing it. And that's why, 90% of millionaires in this country come from real estate. It's just a time and tested like process that just works. So I would always tell people, prepare yourself right now and get the education. And then number 3 is arm yourself financially, whether it's you and your own money, or you start tapping into what I call private money, right? There's ways that you can raise money and get other people to come in with you on these deals where it's win-win, right? They get opportunity to make more money and you get your deal funded. And that way you can go and buy these larger to mid-sized deals. So those 3 things are one of the best things to do right now to armor yourself up. And then when the actual great opportunity comes with the recession, right? When values start plummeting in the next 18 months or so, you want to scoop everything up that you can get, because that's when a whole new wave of wealth is created.
See, I've been doing this wrong because I was watching all those flip those houses shows and I was ready to go flip some houses. So you're saying don't go watch the Home Network and just get into the house flip thing. So you say there's more to it than just watching those shows on TV.
I mean, you can, bro. If you want to do everything the hard way, you go right ahead, bro. I've invested over $300,000 into myself over the last 6 years. I've gotten multiples of returns on that. Multiples. I've learned blueprints and programs that would have taken somebody years, maybe even decades, and I've done it in like months. Like that's just how it works, right? You're trying to compress time. That's why mentorship is like the only true secret there is. It's the only true shortcut there is in the world.
So let's get deeper into that. So you talked about finding a mentor. So what are some of the biggest mistakes people who are getting into the real estate market make? So if you think about like the biggest thing you're seeing, it's like, wow, why'd you do that? What's the most common one you see?
Oh, dude, I give you a whole list. They're thinking too small, right? They're looking at their own pockets. They're trying to figure everything out on their own, or they're just trying to do it on their own. Like you're very limited when you work as a lone wolf. The highest, grandest real estate investors and businesses, they work in teams, right? You go and attack a property with a multi-level approach. When you're trying to go and do it yourself, and you're trying to go and knock down the walls with a hammer to look cool on camera, and then you're trying to go and paint it, and then you're trying to go and find the tenant, and then you're trying to manage a tenant. Yeah, sure, you'll keep all of the profits. But Keith, I mean, what's more, 100% of a grape or 25% of a watermelon?
Right.
That's what people are doing. They're going for grapes. They're going for little grapes and trying to maximize as much juice, as opposed to going for way bigger deals with more people involved and then taking a slice of a way larger pie. So it's just that in of itself. Like I don't do my deals by myself. That would be a suicide, essentially. That would be financial suicide to go in there and try to go into a $5 million property and try to do everything myself. I won't be able to. Even if I tried it, I won't be able to. You need people, you need personnel, you need a team to accomplish these goals. And so it's things like that. And then just thinking too small. It's like, guys, like, this is mindset training, right? You need to work on your mindset. I get it. Like if you're not comfortable with these bigger numbers yet, then to start with something that feels a little bit reasonable and then just stretch a little bit, right? Stretch what you think you can do. And that's one of the things you do that is by getting around the right people, right? Real estate is a team business. It's a people business at the end of the day, even though we're managing properties and we're dealing with properties. It's all relationships. That's how this game works. So you need to plug in with people and get the right people around you. And then really just the other one I said is they're looking into their own pockets, right? If you only have 50 grand, you're only going to look at your own budget. You don't want to buy real estate on a budget, right? That's the worst way to do it. You're looking at investment properties. And in order to make money with these investment properties, you need to look at what's the upside, right? Because imagine if I have goggles on, right? I'm going down a tunnel and they're foggy. I'm not going to be able to see properly, right? I might hit some walls, but if I go through that tunnel completely clear, right? There's no goggles, right? Like I have 20/20 vision. I'm going to go straight through that tunnel very easily. Well, that's the same way that this works. It's like when you have, when you're looking at it based on how much budget you have, you're moving through that tunnel with goggles on. But when you're looking at a real estate deal outside of you, right, it has nothing to do with me in my particular situation. Hey, what is the upside of this particular deal? Does it cash flow, right? You go through a checklist. Does it cash flow? Is there equity that I can build up in it? What's the value going to be in 5 years, right? This has nothing to do with you. These are the important metrics. When you separate yourself from the deal and you look at it and based upon where it can be valued at and how rents and things like that are going to increase based on external factors, when you analyze it properly, then you're going to actually understand the deal a lot better. And then you can reverse engineer how much money is needed. So then you're like, okay, it checks off all these boxes. Hey, we need $150,000. Then you're like, okay, how am I going to get that $150,000? So you want to get to a point where you have to ask that question, and now you're forced to come up with an answer. And then you could be like, okay, well, if that's the case, I only have 50. Where can I get the other 100? And now that's where the real game is. How can you get the other $100,000? Who can you go to? How can you bring people into deals? How can you structure deals? How can you give them a return? And it has nothing to do with how much money you have. I've done my first 72 unit multifamily deal I did. I didn't even put my own money into it.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
And now a word from one of our sponsors, For Freedom Mobile. If you're using AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile, then you're being tracked. Mobile providers collect your location, communications, internet activity, even your financial transaction. They sell that data to anyone willing to pay for it and provide it to the government without a warrant. Switch to For Freedom Mobile, and you won't ever have to worry about big tech or Big Brother tracking you through your mobile phone again. For Freedom Mobile provides secure, unlimited talk, text, and high-speed data for just $29.99 a month, and it includes free internet roaming in over 200 countries. Sign up for the service by visiting forfreedommobile.com and using the promo code BridgeBuilders to get your first month for only $9.99. See forfreedommobile.com for details, just like the number 4, freedommobile.com. So now I've seen a lot of people who have these wonderful YouTube training videos. You talked about you need to get educated. So yeah. I'm sure you're not going on YouTube listening to real estate people to get advice on how to do these. So where do you guide people to find the kind of education they need to be able to do what you're talking about?
Man, YouTube has so much fluff that's just BS, bro, on this particular space. I hate to call it out. I might need to just go on YouTube and just drop some stuff because I'm like, they're not telling you anything on there. And maybe they don't understand it themselves, which is usually the case, because I'll tell you this, the 99% of the people in the real estate game are not even making money in real estate. They're trying to make money off of courses and products and everything else that they're selling. Me and my story, like, I've only done real estate. That's how I have my living. That's how I own the things that I own, the properties. That's my way of being a full-time entrepreneur. So to go back to your question, like with YouTube, bro, I never watch YouTube videos for multifamily specifically. I think maybe there's some better information for single family, but like for multifamily, it's more of a private community, I've learned. It's not something that you can just learn, free. There's usually a mentorship that you need to go through, and you need to find somebody who does it. And that's what I did. I paid a few different people. They were all kind of like holding back some information, which is unfortunate. So I had to go to multiple people to kind of piece together the information. And then in addition to that, I still had to add more things on top from direct experience to really get that full knowledge base. So I would say for commercial real estate, you just got to get around the right people. You can follow me on Instagram. I give as much free information as I possibly can. But otherwise, you need to find somebody who's doing it and just learn from them.
So I like that. But where would someone start? Someone saying they listen to this podcast going, I want to do this. How do I get in? Who are the people I should contact? Where's the community at? How do I find because you talk about mentors. You can find good mentors. You can find irreputable mentors. So how do you find the mentors who are reputable people that will give you good advice and not lead you down the wrong path?
No, that's a great question. And that in of itself addresses a way larger problem in the marketplace, right? Is finding the person that you can trust or whatnot. So my process for that is pretty simple, man. Just start following them, start seeing their content, a lot of their free stuff, however much stuff that they have online, podcasts like this, right? Go and really listen to their longer form content too and see how much information they actually truly have about it. And if it's somebody you think you can align with. And then based upon that, contact them. You got to take some initiative, right? People are waiting for somebody to just come and hand it to them on a silver platter. Like nobody does that in this world, especially if they're way more successful than you. You have to be the one to go out, to initiate, to say, hey, I want coaching, I want mentorship, and I want to learn this game. And in that way, you can actually get what you really want. That's always how I've done it. I never waited for somebody to bring me an opportunity. I've just always went and hunted down the people that I really want to learn from. And then I've just done whatever it takes to learn from them.
So besides you, give me 2 other people that if I wanted to start, I should follow them.
2 other people?
2 other names. You would say, here are 2 guys that get it. You can start by following their content.
For real estate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For real estate, I would say, the thing is like if you follow a guy like Grant Cardone, he's at the top of the game, but he's looking at properties that are way outside most people's like radar. He's looking in the hundreds of millions of dollars range. So I really like Grant Cardone's content though. He got me really excited early in the game, and even him, it's like I'm even trying to ascend toward those levels. So I also think Grant's got some of the better education out there on YouTube for sure, if any. I think that's definitely one person, and then I don't really see too many other real estate folks, brother, that I would recommend.
Okay.
There's a lot of great people though. I'm not in that sphere because I'm doing it. So I'm not really watching and consuming the content.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I'm more of like, I'm a player in the game and I'm just trying to stay as active as possible. So I don't really watch that content,
So who are other players in the game that we should follow?
Other players in the game. Let's see. Pace Morby is really good. He's got a lot of creative financing and real estate stuff. He's got good content. Jamil Damji, if you're looking to try to get into wholesaling, he's a good guy. They primarily do like agent outreach for single family. And a lot of these guys I know, they're like good people, good friends. That's why I would recommend them. Otherwise, I don't like throwing names out because I'm like, I don't really know who they are, So I don't want anybody to get in trouble with that. Those are good guys right there, man.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
So what drives you now? We knew what moved you in the beginning, but what continues to push you now that you're reaching the points where you're at?
What motivates me now is just my potential, man. And also like all the people that I really want to help out. The further up you go in the scale, the more you realize you can't help out more people until you get bigger. And that's kind of the point I am now. I'm like, it just goes beyond me and my family now. It goes to the level of helping out like communities, groups of people, way more people outside of like even my tribe or where I started, anybody who can relate to like trying to make success happen for themselves, maybe some inspiration and some motivation for them. People overseas, I still have extended family members overseas that I want to help out, and instead of just giving them money, it's like, how can I help them even better through education, through, strategic actual opportunities that they could take advantage of, creating resources for people outside of just giving away money. Like when you give away money, it doesn't really do anything. Like it's very temporary. But if you can show people how to essentially fish or how to create skills that allow them to fend for themselves, I think that's really where the majority of value can really derive from. So for me, I want to be able to impact like over 10,000 people positively. Like that's where I'm at now. I want to be able to help them in some regard, whether it's through learning real estate, financial, wellness, just personal development, inspiration, just allow people to move forward in their life towards the direction they want to go. I want to impact 10,000 people.
I love that. So I love to ask my guests this question. What do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy? Honestly, I don't really care about legacy that much, man. I don't want to downplay it. It's just I don't really care about my particular legacy. If it impacted people and they just saw a possibility that, hey, that kid came from poor beginnings and he was able to make it happen, then I'll take that. But otherwise, I want people to create their own legacies.
I like that. Anything I haven't asked you that I should have asked you?
Maybe even, I don't know, something about some mistake or something that I've made, or some big lesson I've learned. I think that's always helpful to people.
So what's the biggest lesson you learned?
Actually, I think you asked me that in the beginning, but yeah, bro. One of the biggest mistakes I did make in my life that I would tell people is to definitely minimize a lot of the bad things that are like holding you back. Like those things make more of a difference than even just money does. Money will allow you to do things, but like I've seen people who make a lot of money, man, they get screwed up even more than when they didn't have money, because they didn't have their personal principles and personal compass straight, because you can get lost in the world that we're in nowadays, man. You can get lost in the need for, extra stimulation, partying a lot, drinking a lot, doing drugs, all these different vices that really hold people back. These are the things that really are the most important thing in your life, right? Because I believe everybody really wants, at the end of the day, true fulfillment and happiness, not money, not, even when they say love, like love is a part of it, but you want fulfillment. You want to feel full. You want to feel like good every day when you wake up. And that's different from feeling happy. That's different from, waking up and trying to act like you have a smile on your face. I think that's fake. Like the happiest people I know, they don't walk around with a smile on their face. They have a smile on their heart, but you can tell when they really do smile that it's very powerful. And the way to get to a fulfilled place in life is through putting in the work. Put in the work, go through adversity, maintain discipline over yourself, and really apply yourself to become better. Right? We were all weak at some point. Even now, I still deal with weaknesses, man. I still have temptation hit me up left and right. It's probably the same with you, Keith. But it's in having a process that allows you to deal with those things so that you can remain strong, so that you can remain grounded and principled. And every day you feel like you have purpose, right? Even when you hit $1 million, it's like, what's my purpose now? It's like you should have always had a purpose from the beginning. You should have always had a purpose in the beginning, irregardless of a particular figure. Like I think it should be more fun and enjoyable to go for certain things, and challenging, right? Like approach the challenge with a positive attitude. Like be present for the pain.
Right.
That's what I would tell people. And be present for your growth, because the person that you create is really the reward at the end of the day.
Right. So where can people find you, Ace, on social media and connect with you if they want to know more about you and follow you?
Yeah, they can follow me on Instagram at ace.invest. Ace.invest on Instagram. You could get me on Facebook too at Ace Karimi. I think I'm maxed out on friends, so you're going to have to just find me and you could follow. I drop content on there. And I'm thinking about dropping more free content myself. You got me thinking about YouTube now, Keith, because I'd love to be able to help, man. I don't really want to come on here and talk like I'm the big shot or anything, I still feel like I'm a little guy in a lot of ways.
Right.
I just know that from where I was, it's been a massive upgrade. And if I can get here from where I used to be, then I know other people can as well.
Well, Ace, thanks so much for coming on and sharing the content and sharing your story with us. I think it may inspire other people to do what you did, but also tap into some of the principles of, what does it mean to have a fulfilled life? And to me, it starts with that we talked about earlier, connection with God and having the grounding that faith does. And everything else from there is God's blessings on our life, and we can kind of share those blessings with everybody else. So he blesses us so we can bless other people with that as well.
I like that. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Keith.
Thanks for listening to Becoming Bridge Builder. If you enjoyed this episode and want to help support the podcast, please subscribe and share it with others. Post about it on social media or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram at bkeithhaney and on Getter and Twitter at RevHeadpin or on his website at alightbreaksthrough.org. Thanks again and tune in next time.
Do you know that most entrepreneurs hit a revenue ceiling and have no idea why? They're working harder, spending more money, running more ads, but revenue stays flat. My friend Dr. Noah St. John calls this the invisible break. He's giving our listeners a free revenue ceiling audit to help you see what's really holding you back. You'll get a free 30-day membership to Noah Bot, giving you access to Dr. Noah's 30 years of experience to help you reach your next level. But hurry, because there's only 50 available this month. So if you're tired of being stuck at the same revenue level and want to finally break through, get your free revenue ceiling audit at drnoahvault.com in the affiliate link that'll be listed in the show notes.
Thanks for listening to Becoming Bridge Builder. If you enjoyed this episode and want to help support the podcast, please subscribe and share it with others. Post about it on social media or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram at bkeithhaney and on Getter and Twitter at RevHeadpin. Thanks again and tune in next time.